Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Thorne. Let me start with something you already know, even if no one said it out loud. After 60, it's not your heart you notice first. It's not your memory. It's your legs. You feel it on the stairs. You feel it standing up from a low chair. You feel it when a short walk that used to be nothing suddenly asks something of you. And if you've been quietly wondering, why do my legs seem to be giving out before anything else? You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. Here's the truth most people never get told. Your leg muscles are often the first thing to weaken as you age, not because you're getting old, but because of what's missing from your plate. The good news? This isn't a mystery, and it isn't something you have to just accept. Today, I'm going to show you 4 simple foods. Foods you can find in any grocery store, nothing exotic, nothing expensive, that can help rebuild strength in your legs faster than you'd think possible. So if you want to keep walking with confidence, keep climbing those stairs without a second thought, and keep doing the things you love without your legs holding you back. Stay with me. This is for you. Let's talk about eggs. Not as a breakfast item, not as something you scramble on a Sunday morning out of habit, but as one of the most powerful tools you have for rebuilding the strength in your legs after 60. Here's what most people don't understand about muscle loss as we age. It's not just that muscles get tired or worn out over the decades. What's actually happening is a process called sarcopenia, the gradual, steady breakdown of muscle tissue that begins as early as your 30s and accelerates dramatically after 60. Every single day, your body is breaking down old muscle protein and, in theory, rebuilding it. The problem is that after 60, that rebuilding process slows down. Your body becomes less efficient at using protein to repair and grow muscle fibers. This is called anabolic resistance, and it's a big part of why your legs, which carry the most muscle mass in your entire body, are often the first to show weakness. This is exactly where eggs come in, and why I consider them one of the single best foods you can eat if you want to protect your legs. An egg is what we call a complete protein. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids, the building blocks your body needs to repair and grow muscle tissue, but cannot produce on its own. You have to get them from food. Many people over 60 are eating some protein, but it's often incomplete, or it's spread out so thin across the day that the body can't use it effectively. Eggs solve this problem in the simplest way possible. 2 eggs give you roughly 12 to 13 grams of high-quality, complete protein with an amino acid profile that's almost perfectly matched to what human muscle tissue needs to rebuild itself. But protein content is only part of the story. What makes eggs truly special for someone concerned about leg strength is a nutrient called leucine. Leucine is an amino acid that acts almost like a switch. It directly signals to your muscle cells that it's time to begin the process of protein synthesis, the actual building of new muscle fibers. Eggs are naturally rich in leucine, and research has shown that older adults need more leucine per meal than younger people do, precisely because of that anabolic resistance I mentioned earlier. In simple terms, as you age, your muscles need a louder signal to start rebuilding, and eggs provide exactly that kind of signal. Then there's the yolk. And I want to be very clear about this, because for decades people were told to fear it. The yolk is not the enemy. The yolk is where much of the nutritional value actually lives. It contains vitamin D, a nutrient that plays a direct role in muscle function and strength, and one that a large percentage of older adults are deficient in without even knowing it. Low vitamin D has been closely linked to weaker leg muscles, slower walking speed, and a higher risk of falls. The yolk also contains choline, which supports nerve function. And remember, your muscles don't work in isolation. They rely on clear, fast signals from your nervous system to contract properly when you stand, walk, or climb stairs. Weak nerve signaling can make muscles feel weaker even when the muscle tissue itself is intact. There's also the matter of convenience and consistency, which matters more than people realize. The best food for muscle health isn't the one with the most impressive nutrition label, it's the one you'll actually eat regularly, without it becoming a burden. Eggs are inexpensive, they're available everywhere, and they can be prepared in under 5 minutes. This matters because muscle rebuilding is not a one-time event. It is the result of steady, repeated signals to your body over weeks and months. A single high-protein meal does very little. A consistent pattern of complete protein intake, meal after meal, day after day, is what actually moves the needle on leg strength. So when I recommend eggs to someone over 60 who is noticing weakness in their legs, I'm not thinking of them as a simple breakfast food. I'm thinking of them as a daily, reliable source of the exact raw materials, complete protein, leucine, vitamin D, choline, that your leg muscles need to rebuild themselves against a natural process that is otherwise working against you. Let's turn to salmon, and I want to explain why I place it right alongside eggs as one of the most important foods for anyone over 60 who is noticing weakness in their legs. To understand why salmon matters so much, you need to understand something most people are never told. The biggest threat to your leg strength as you age isn't just muscle loss, it's inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation builds up quietly in the body over decades, and it directly interferes with your muscles' ability to repair and rebuild themselves. Think of it this way. Even if you're eating enough protein, if your body is in a constant low-level inflammatory state, that protein has a much harder time being turned into new, strong muscle tissue. It's like trying to build a house while someone is constantly chipping away at the foundation. This is one of the hidden reasons legs weaken first. They're large muscle groups under constant daily stress, and inflammation hits them hardest. This is exactly where salmon becomes so valuable. Salmon is one of the richest natural sources of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These aren't just good for your heart, as most people have heard. Omega-3s have a direct, measurable effect on muscle health. They work to calm chronic inflammation throughout the body, which allows the muscle repair process to actually do its job. Research on older adults has shown that those with higher omega-3 levels tend to have better muscle mass, better muscle function, and even respond better to resistance exercise than those with low omega-3 intake. In other words, omega-3s don't just protect your muscles, they help your body make better use of the protein you're already eating. There's another piece to this that's often overlooked. Omega-3 fatty acids appear to directly stimulate a process called muscle protein synthesis, the same process I mentioned when we talked about eggs. Some research suggests that omega-3s enhance the muscle-building signal triggered by amino acids like leucine, almost acting as an amplifier. So when you eat salmon regularly, you're not just adding a separate benefit, you're actually helping your body respond more efficiently to the protein you eat throughout the day, including from other foods. Now let's talk about the joints, because your legs don't just depend on muscle. They depend on the joints those muscles pull against. Weak or painful knees and hips will change the way you walk, shift your weight distribution, and cause certain leg muscles to become underused while others become overworked and fatigued. This is a pattern I see constantly in people over 60. Omega-3s have been shown to help reduce joint stiffness and discomfort, particularly related to inflammation in the cartilage and connective tissue. When your joints move more freely and with less pain, your leg muscles are able to work the way they're supposed to, evenly, efficiently, and without the compensations that lead to further weakness over time. Salmon also provides something else that's critical and often missed: vitamin D, in a highly absorbable form. I mentioned earlier how important vitamin D is for muscle contraction and strength, and how common deficiency is in older adults. A single serving of salmon can provide a substantial portion of your daily vitamin D needs, working hand in hand with the vitamin D you get from eggs or sunlight to support the nerve-to-muscle signaling that allows your legs to respond quickly and reliably when you stand up, catch your balance, or climb a set of stairs. And then there's the protein itself. Salmon isn't just an omega-3 food, it's also a high-quality complete protein source, giving you roughly 22 to 25 grams per serving. This means every time you eat salmon, you're doing two things simultaneously: supplying the raw building blocks for new muscle tissue, and calming the inflammatory environment that would otherwise slow that rebuilding process down. Very few foods accomplish both of these at once, which is exactly why I place salmon at the top of the list for anyone serious about protecting the strength in their legs as they get older. I recommend aiming for salmon 2 to 3 times a week, prepared simply baked, grilled, or pan-seared, because the goal isn't complexity, it's consistency. Your legs don't need a perfect diet. They need a steady, reliable supply of the nutrients that allow them to repair themselves faster than age is breaking them down, and salmon is one of the most direct ways to provide exactly that. Now let's talk about Greek yogurt, and I want to start by explaining why I recommend it not as an occasional snack, but as something closer to a daily tool in your fight against leg weakness after 60. Here's a problem I see constantly in people this age. They're actually eating protein throughout the day, but their bodies aren't using it well because of how and when it's being eaten. Most people, without realizing it, eat very little protein at breakfast, a moderate amount at lunch, and then a large portion at dinner. This pattern might seem harmless, but for someone over 60, it works against you. Remember what I explained about anabolic resistance. Your muscles need a strong, concentrated dose of protein to trigger rebuilding, and they need that dose repeated multiple times a day, not just once. If breakfast is toast and coffee, your muscles are going 12, 14, sometimes 16 hours with almost no signal to rebuild. This is where Greek yogurt becomes so useful, because it gives you an easy way to close that gap, especially earlier in the day. Greek yogurt is strained to remove much of the liquid whey, which concentrates both the protein and the texture. A single cup can provide 15 to 20 grams of high-quality protein, and unlike regular yogurt, it contains a meaningful mix of two different protein types, casein and whey. This combination matters more than people realize. Whey protein is digested quickly, meaning the amino acids enter your bloodstream fast and reach your muscles rapidly. Ideal for triggering that muscle-building signal we talked about with leucine. Casein, on the other hand, digests slowly, releasing amino acids steadily over several hours. This dual-action effect means Greek yogurt doesn't just give your muscles a quick nutrient spike and then leave them waiting. It provides a fast start followed by a sustained supply, which is exactly the kind of steady rebuilding support aging leg muscles need. There's also a mineral story here that's just as important as the protein. Greek yogurt is naturally rich in calcium, and while most people associate calcium purely with bone health, it plays a direct role in muscle function as well. Calcium is required for muscle fibers to contract properly. Every time your leg muscles fire, when you push up from a chair, take a step, or catch your balance on uneven ground, calcium is involved in that signal at a cellular level. Low calcium doesn't just weaken bones over time, it can also interfere with the efficiency and strength of muscle contractions themselves, which becomes especially noticeable in large muscle groups like the legs that are used constantly throughout the day. Then there's a piece that almost nobody connects to leg strength, and that's gut health. Greek yogurt contains live probiotic cultures, and a healthy gut microbiome has been increasingly linked to better nutrient absorption, particularly protein absorption. This matters enormously for someone over 60. It doesn't matter how much protein you eat if your digestive system isn't absorbing and processing it efficiently. As we age, digestive efficiency naturally declines, and inflammation in the gut can further reduce how well amino acids are absorbed into the bloodstream where they can actually reach your muscles. The probiotics in Greek yogurt help support a healthier gut environment, which means more of the protein you eat throughout the day, whether from yogurt, eggs, or salmon, actually gets used for muscle repair instead of being poorly processed. I also want to point out how practical Greek yogurt is compared to many other protein sources, because practicality directly affects consistency, and consistency is what actually rebuilds muscle over time. It requires no cooking, no preparation, and no planning. It can be eaten straight from the container, paired with fruit, or added to a smoothie in under a minute. For someone who may have limited energy, joint discomfort, or simply doesn't want to spend time cooking multiple meals a day, this matters far more than people give it credit for. The best nutrition plan is the one that actually gets followed day after day, and Greek yogurt removes almost every barrier to that. When I recommend Greek yogurt to someone concerned about their leg strength, I'm recommending it specifically as a bridge, something that fills the gaps earlier in the day, delivers a fast and sustained protein release, supports the calcium your muscles need to contract properly, and improves your body's ability to absorb the nutrients from everything else you're eating. Now let's talk about spinach, and I want to explain why this one is different from the first three foods we've discussed. Eggs, salmon, and Greek yogurt are primarily about protein. Spinach is about something else entirely, something most people over 60 have never even considered when they think about leg strength, and that's minerals. Here's what I want you to understand. Your muscles don't just need protein to be strong. They need electrical signals to fire correctly, and those electrical signals depend heavily on minerals, specifically potassium and magnesium. When people over 60 tell me their legs feel weak, heavy, or unreliable, especially later in the day or after standing for a while, one of the first things I look at isn't protein intake at all. It's whether they're getting enough of these two minerals, because a deficiency here can make muscles feel weak even when there's nothing wrong with the muscle tissue itself. Let's start with potassium. Potassium is essential for something called the sodium-potassium pump, a process happening constantly inside every muscle cell in your legs. This pump is what allows your muscle cells to generate the electrical charge needed for a muscle fiber to contract and then relax again. When potassium levels are low, this pump doesn't work efficiently, and the result is muscles that fatigue faster, cramp more easily, and feel weaker than they should. This is an incredibly common issue after 60, partly because of changes in kidney function, certain medications, and simply lower intake of potassium-rich foods over time. Spinach happens to be one of the most concentrated sources of potassium you can eat, and unlike a supplement, it comes packaged with other nutrients that help your body use it properly. Magnesium works alongside potassium, and it's just as critical, if not more overlooked. Magnesium plays a direct role in allowing muscles to relax after they contract. This might sound like a small detail, but think about what your leg muscles do every single day. Thousands of contractions and relaxations just from standing, walking, and shifting your weight. If magnesium is low, that relaxation phase becomes less efficient. Muscles stay slightly tense, and over time this leads to the kind of persistent heaviness and fatigue that so many people over 60 describe in their legs. Magnesium is also required for the proper function of vitamin D, the same vitamin D we discussed with eggs and salmon. Without enough magnesium, vitamin D cannot be properly converted into its active form in the body, which means even if you're eating vitamin D-rich foods, a magnesium deficiency can quietly block your body from using it. Spinach provides a meaningful amount of magnesium, making it a kind of missing link that allows the other foods on this list to actually do their job. There's also the matter of nitrates, and this is something most people have never heard connected to leg strength. Spinach is naturally high in dietary nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide causes blood vessels to widen slightly, improving blood flow to working muscles. For your legs specifically, this means more oxygen and more nutrients, including the protein and amino acids from eggs, salmon, and yogurt, are delivered efficiently to the muscle tissue that needs them. Some research on older adults has shown that higher nitrate intake is associated with improved walking performance and reduced muscle fatigue during physical activity. In simple terms, spinach doesn't just feed your muscles minerals directly, it improves the delivery system that carries everything else you eat to where it's needed most. Iron is another piece of this picture that deserves attention. Many older adults, particularly women, have lower iron stores than they realize, and iron is essential for carrying oxygen through the bloodstream to muscle tissue. Low iron can lead to a persistent sense of fatigue and weakness, especially in muscles under regular demand, like the ones in your legs. Spinach provides a plant-based source of iron that, when paired with vitamin C-rich foods, is absorbed reasonably well by the body. What makes spinach so valuable in this list of 4 foods is that it isn't competing with eggs, salmon, and Greek yogurt, it's supporting them. It provides the minerals that allow muscle contractions to happen properly, the magnesium that unlocks the vitamin D from the other foods, and the improved blood flow that ensures the protein you're eating actually reaches your leg muscles where the real rebuilding work takes place. So there you have it, 4 simple everyday foods: eggs, salmon, Greek yogurt, and spinach. None of them exotic, none of them expensive, but together they give your legs exactly what they need: protein to rebuild, omega-3s to calm inflammation, fast-acting nutrients to close the gaps in your day, and the minerals that let every muscle contraction actually work the way it should. Strong legs after 60 aren't about luck, and they're not about spending hours in a gym. They're about consistency, feeding your body the right materials day after day so it can keep rebuilding itself faster than age is breaking it down. If this helped you, do me a favor. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what we cover next, and drop a comment below telling me which of these 4 foods you're going to start with. I read everyone. Take care of those legs. They've carried you this far.